In response to COVID-19, PSP is offering telefitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the telefitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Prior to participating in this session and to make an informed decision on whether you should seek advice from a qualified exercise professional or healthcare provider, consult the Get Active questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference documents. By continuing with this telefitness class, you understand that there is a possibility of physical injury, and you agree that you do so voluntarily at your own risk. You also assume all risk of injury and agree to release the Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services from any and all claims related to your participation in this telefitness class.
How's it going, everyone? Scott Lewis, fitness and sports instructor for PSP at 4CDTC Meaford here. Today we have a functional core workout. We've got 2 supersets followed by a waiter's carry. So the first superset is going to be 3 sets each. It's going to be wipers for 10 reps and then a single arm chest fly for a total of 10. After those 3 sets, we're going to move on to the next grouping. It's going to be a body saw, which is a modification or progression of the plank where you actually throw in a little bit of dynamic movement. That's going to be for 10 reps as well, followed by Pallof Press for 10 reps per side. And then again, we're going to end off after those 3 sets with the waiter's carry for 20 meters. So as far as the equipment that you're going to need today, just a mat, a little bit of space to move around, as well as some light weights, whether they're a pair of light kettlebells or dumbbells, doesn't really matter. Either will do the trick. The rest period is going to be 30 seconds in between sets, and just make sure that you have some water handy for those rest times. So before the actual workout, just make sure that you get your heart rate up, either by jogging, spinning, and then following that, we're going to get into some mobility pieces.
First up, we have 10 reps of wipers, superset with 10 reps of a single arm chest fly. So the wipers are going to target our transverse abdominis, which is the deeper core muscles, as well as our obliques. So all we're going to want to do for setup is keep from our hips to our head in contact with the ground. Our palms can be face down in contact with the mat. And then all we're going to do is rock under control from left to right. So this way we're going to feel a little bit of a stretch on the opposite side and then bracing through the core. Next, we have 10 reps alternating of a single arm chest fly. You can choose to set up with your feet in contact with the ground or lift it up like I have here. It's a little bit more challenging in this position just because your anti-rotation properties are going to need to be much stronger because your whole body wants to turn where that weight is dropping to. And you can see that my hand ends up being a little bit lower than shoulder height. So if you were to draw a line, you're going to notice that my arm is slightly downwards, and that's just to keep my shoulder in a nice, safe, and secure position as these weights descend. Our next grouping of exercise is going to be a Pallof press for 10 reps per side, superset with body saws. So this is another great anti-rotation exercise. So as you can see, my feet are roughly shoulder width apart, and then I'm using my sternum or lower chest as a point of reference for where I'm bringing my hands into and pressing out from. A little bit higher, and I'm getting more of a pec pump than I am with my core anti-rotation. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Also, if you want your core to do more work, you can bring your feet in or even stand on one foot if you really want to bump up the challenge. Otherwise, all you're going to focus on doing is pressing straight out and then coming back in without turning towards where that band is anchored. Next up, we have 10 reps for the body saw. So this is a plank variation that incorporates a little bit of movement from top to bottom. You're just pivoting from your toes as far up as you can comfortably and then down as far as you can comfortably. So you're going to see that my head is neutral and my back to my hips is in a nice straight line, just like it would be for a regular plank. And I'm just moving slowly under control in order to feel that right through my core, right up the middle. If this variation of the plank isn't comfortable for you, you can feel free to do the traditional plank for 20 to 30 seconds. Lastly, we have a waiter's carry for 20 meters per side. How you're going to want to set up for this is extend the shoulder until your elbow is roughly shoulder height. and the arm itself is going to be about 45 degrees out to the body. So it's not in a straight line with your torso, just keeps the shoulder in a comfortable position so that you can really focus on those obliques as you're walking.
Alright, so we're all warmed up and mobilized. Feel free to play music for the main body here. I am going to be giving the additional cues throughout, so just pay attention for those. So all we need for this first grouping of exercises is the mat and some light weights. So let's get right to it. We're going to start off with wipers for 10 reps and then get into single arm chest flies with those weights. Good. Single arm chest flies next. You can elevate the feet or keep them on the ground, whichever you prefer. and relax. 30 seconds to rest. Don't go far because we're right back to it for 2 more rounds. As you could see when I was doing those chest flies, my arm wasn't straight up at shoulder level. It was a little bit below. That's just keeping my shoulder in a nice, safe position there. Grab some water, get ready. Not a lot of time to rest here in between. Get ready in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Palms facing down at your sides. Core braced. Good. Chest flies. Start right above your sternum. Knees up. Let's go. Good stuff. So as you're gonna feel, you're gonna need to brace and fight against rocking to one side or the other, promoting that core stability. Grab some water. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Round number 3. Good. Grab those weights. Shoulder blades back and down. Knees up. And 10. Good. Take about a minute and a half here, and then we're going to get into our next grouping of exercises. Next up, our supersets are going to be the 10 reps for Pallof Press and a body saw plank. So if the body saw doesn't feel comfortable with your shoulder and elbow joints, feel free just to do a regular plank for 20 seconds. I've got my 2 bands for the Pallof Press anchored on either side of my shed so that I'm always focusing on the camera, but feel free to just make do with one if that's all you have and just flip around as needed. So we're going to start off with the Pallof Press. After we get the 10 per side, we're going to go for 10 reps of the body saw. Let's go. Starting right at the sternum or lower chest, pressing straight out and coming back in. Good. Next side. body saw. Elbows underneath your shoulders, feet together if you can. You're going to rock forward and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Relax, you got 30 seconds to rest here. Move around if you need to. Remember, you can adjust the tension on these Pallof presses. The resistance band is only as strong as you walk it out. So if you need to, give yourself a little bit more slack, widen your base of support and bring yourself down. That'll make you a lot more stable. If you want to work on that core a little bit more, bring those feet narrower and really challenge that anti-rotation of your core. All right, get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Press. Back in. Press. Good. Next side, same thing. Good stuff. Body saw. Keep those hands relaxed. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Relax. Think about how much tension you're giving yourself on one side and try to match that for the other on the Pallof presses. You don't want to be overworking one side and underworking the other. You want them to be roughly the same. Ten seconds, get ready. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Good. Good stuff. Last round of body saws here. Keep that head neutral. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good stuff. Give yourself about 60 seconds to a minute and a half for rest here, and then we're going to get going on the wader carries. Here we're primarily working on the obliques, but ultimately you're going to be deciding your weight based on how much that shoulder can handle, stabilizing in that overhead position. So for me right now, I'm going to bump up the weight a little bit just because I think my shoulders can handle a little bit more, and I'll get more benefit from my obliques. Feel free to do the same. If it's too easy, bump that weight on up. One more round to go. Make sure that you're not hyperextending that back. Keep the core nice and braced and allow that shoulder to lift up, and then just make sure that that weight's locked in. Good job, everybody. See you in the cool down.
done, everybody. If there was any injuries or issues, please fill out a CF98. Otherwise, have a great day.